Roll call vote, please.
Oh, that's after. Sorry.
Okay, sir.
Kramer.
Here.
Scott McCorney.
Here.
Gordon McGee.
Here.
Jason Weaver.
Here.
Paul Cross.
Here,
Okay.
the Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. And item 4, the consent agenda. I didn't see anything that I thought we needed to take out and consider separately. Everybody, yeah.
What's the Form A for book signing?
That is to have wine served at.
That form. Got it.
Yep.
There's no further questions or concerns on those items.
I motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Weaver. Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Cross.
Aye. Item 5, approval of minutes from the February 21st regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the February 21st, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weaver.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Paul Cross.
Aye. Unfinished business. Item A, social media policy discussion.
Did you have any discussion on it? I read through it. Is there anything in particular that you?
No, question about, will there be should we have something in there regarding who should post on social media? Should it be the board, the whole city, or should it be limited to a certain group?
Should we limit it to staff? Because then it would be, I don't know, I suppose, probably.
Feels like.
Because otherwise, if one or two of us, or even three of us would comment, does that break the Open Meetings Act probably? So, yeah. Probably better add that. Because it says employees are expected, so we probably better say employees and board. And then put something in there about the board can only, or the employees can only respond. So then I guess that we reach out to you and then you guys respond. And if it's something that's, more major than like the one that we got today that was on there about the water. Did anyone answer that one? Do you know?
The message.
There was one from a citizen about,
Yep, so they get a response on there when they
Okay.
message us.
It says call the
Contact
office, right? Okay.
It says this isn't monitored and you
Okay.
should contact the
okay,
office.
perfect.
Because those messages get weird.
Right.
Tim has this and he's reviewing it. And I have not heard back from him yet, but he's just going over it to make sure that it has everything that we need it to have. And then once we have all the wording that we want, we'll put it into a resolution for you guys to approve.
All right.
I'm happy with it.
I think so.
Let's wait for what Tim's got for us, and we'll move on with that. Item B. Citizen Recognition Program. Do we have any?
Last month, we put something together to discuss. I think, Nikki, I don't know if you
It's in
added,
the packet.
Yep.
It should be in there.
were there any changes?
No, it looked good just how it was, so.
So I guess that would come to the next question. If we
Do we have a price on any of this stuff or not?
Didn't go that far, just want to make sure that was something,
Examples.
yeah.
Pretty minimal cost though, right? I mean,
We can scale it to whatever we want.
right, yeah.
The criteria and examples and process seem to be good.
Yeah, they're vague, but at the same time, specific enough that
Yeah.
to guide us towards a decision or whoever. Let's see, the process towards the bottom. Submitted in writing. With supporting information ultimately, and then I think where it becomes vague is, does Nikki, Kate, does somebody take this and groom it? Do they just turn it back over to us to look at? We haven't discussed that to any detail on how we vet out the candidate for the award.
And we could award it at any time, or are we just,
It's up to us.
It says annually in there.
I know.
Pick a date.
Yeah, if you don't like that, we can take it out.
no, I was trying to decide, because I remember I had talked about potentially maybe doing it like during the sizzle, where there's a public
Right.
forum.
Yep.
So I don't know if we want to just do it. Okay, here are the 5 people that have been nominated throughout this year. Here are the 5 that have won, and give out the awards there.
It's a cool idea.
Or do we want to give it out at when they've done the thing that they've gotten nominated for? That's why I didn't know. I like the public recognition type of thing.
I do too.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's a good part of it. That's a reward for somebody that's doing good, is to get.
Yep.
To get noticed in public, and if we find an event like the summer sizzle that we like doing it at, I think that's a good idea.
I don't know if you could do it like at the concert, or I don't know, what would be the largest event? Maybe, I don't know. Is that
Probably the music
fireworks
concert,
concert, yeah.
which rolls into the fireworks.
Right. I know my home community does something very similar to that, so.
Maybe it's in between the concert and the fireworks, that's still early enough that some people won't be put off about being ready to go home or whatever, but
Right. Is there anything formally we have to do to? It's not an ordinance.
It's not a resolution, it's not an ordinance. Looks
all
good.
right,
Yeah.
looks good. Move forward with that. Item C, update on the comprehensive plan committee. I know we've had notice in the newspaper. Have we gotten anything from the newspaper or Facebook yet?
No
right.
one has contacted us.
I have one person I would like to consider it. I'll get in touch this month, see if that person's interested.
Mike Hagan.
Mike, yes.
Because he was on it the last time, so I don't know if he'd be willing to serve on it again. It'd be good to have someone that was on it last time, I think.
All right, we'll keep working on that. I think we've got some interest in some other things on the compromise or that would go along with this as far as what's the other commission?
Strategic.
Planning Commission. So they've got some, I got a member who would like to talk about some new things, so. Item D, update on water sewer contract with the county fair board. Have you gotten anywhere with that, James?
We were gonna read the meters April, May, and June
Okay,
to get an
try and get
average,
it, yeah,
and we'll go with that one.
okay,
Because they do have 70% of it metered down there, which includes the 2 buildings that are hooked up to the sewer, so I think that would be it.
yeah, it's kind of hard to make an idea of what their fair price should be until we know what they use, so. All right, we'll keep monitoring that. Then July, we would have enough data to start talking about that, okay. So we'll plan on putting it back on there then. Item E, discussion and possible decision on how to proceed with FEMA buyout properties. I think we need to start contacting the people that have had offers. Find out if, where they're at in the process. That one of them, I think, may have been bought and they don't want to proceed with the buyout. So if that's the case, we need to find out from these property owners where they're at. And if they're not going to be in the buyout, we need to get moving ahead with demolition of the properties.
We have one that hasn't submitted paperwork yet, so we need to find out if he's planning to do that or not.
Okay. Well, it sounds like people have had offers from FEMA, so it's time for us to put pressure on and find out if we're gonna take them or if we're going to.
What are the total number of properties that have offers? Do we know? Or eligible for the buyout?
Should have been 4, I believe.
The one has not submitted paperwork, one has accepted the buyout and they are ready to close on that.
The one that's ready to close was the last one that got in the process.
That's when we traded, swapped in there.
Yeah, okay. That would be down on, the only one on Second Street. Yeah. Okay. And then I want to keep this, there's some discussion about this potential buyout of properties. I think we'll keep item E open for discussion. And at the end of the meeting, we may want to go into executive session for discussion on that, since it's a potential contract negotiation. So, item, unless there's any, did anybody have anything else to add to the discussion of FEMA buyout properties?
Is this one property that we're going to be discussing later, is that one of the 4? That,
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is, yeah, I'll ask later.
The one on Second Street, you said has accepted the offer, and the other 3 are in limbo at this time. So. I just heard the other day, was it 2 years since the flood or 3 years since the flood hit?
3,
Yeah, so
19.
we need to be moving on this. I don't even want to think about what the inside of some of those places look like. So let's move, item F, discussion and possible approval of a stepped wages chart. I think that's something we may want to go into executive session at the end of the meeting as well. Unless anybody has anything to add in public session, we'll table that till the end of the meeting. Item 7, new business communications committee report.
just a brief update would be that, both providers are signing up subscribers, and there are several signs around town for ABB. I know I personally got set up, seems to be working really well, it's affordable. At this point, I think we're probably at the end of.
Through the worst of it.
Well, I think we're at the end of the job for the committee itself, actually.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you.
I would agree. Would agree.
Their main infrastructure is done. It's just getting individual customers signed up. So
Compliment to everyone who worked in this committee. Thinking back where we were 3 years ago and the lack of internet options in town.
Mhm.
And now we've got,
and the
Options
lack
coming out
of
our
desire
ears.
to do anything. It was this committee that you guys formed, and
great job.
Excuse me, may I ask a question about the communication portion here? My name's
Yes.
Becky Hennig, and I live across from the fairgrounds. And American Broadband was here last week and they connected my internet service and my phone line. Now, I've always had a phone line that if power went out, I had a phone that would work. Now, when they installed the fiber and he came out to, change over to the telephone and stuff, he told the guy installing it said, I did not have a battery outside, which consequently means if the power goes out here, I will be without my landline. Now, I do have a cell phone, so I know all about that, but I have a lot of friends in this town who do not have cell phones and who, if they're switched over, they won't know that they're not going to have a landline until such time if we get the batteries for a backup, which only gives us 8 hours of power. So did you know that? That we would lose our landlines?
No,
Yeah, that was not communicated to us. I'm similar to what your situation that you just described is what I heard when they came and installed at my house this last week. They made some comments about phone service and some limitations. So, I can certainly reach back out to ABB for that, but I don't think the village is going to have much say in which services they offer. I believe Cox is offering phone service.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's going to be the same scenario. You got to have, with the fiber, you have to have a battery backup for your phone to your landline to work.
I don't know if, I don't know the answer to that. If, I think that's probably a question for Cox and ABB.
Now you have to call their customer service.
I have. And, you know, I was told that we will get the back, we being the whole, but whoever takes ABB will get their backup batteries one of these days. But I think it's unfortunate that they didn't communicate up front. I mean, I found this out by reading the internet, you know, so.
Is this something that they said they were gonna install for free in the service?
What, yeah, the battery supposedly,
Yes.
yeah, supposedly it was supposed to come with the service. Anyway, that's what the lady that, you know, called to make my appointment said. And when the guy's name was Jojo, when he was here to install the stuff, he said, oh no, you're not getting any batteries. Blair got batteries, but you're not getting them here in Arlington. But then
Well,
when I called her back and talked, she said, oh, you're supposed to get them. So I'm waiting to see. But you know, just so you know, people won't have access to 911 if their power goes out.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. I'll reach out to ABB first thing tomorrow morning, and at the very least, we can have them come back at next month's board meeting and discuss the matter.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I don't know why. I talk all the time. But right now,
You did great. Thank you.
it bothers me. So that's all I wanted to say on here. So I'm leaving. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll check into that.
Thanks a lot.
All right. I haven't heard anything else on communications, so.
Sounds like we need the committee to be in.
Yeah, one more month.
One more month.
Yes.
We'll try and disband them. Streets Committee report, Jason, myself, we're still working on getting a printout of a strategic plan. I believe we're gonna try and schedule that in May for our strategic meeting. Is that when we were talking? May? So we'll keep working on that. The process for repairing sidewalks, I thought we were just gonna have them submit for reimbursement. What did we need to do on that?
This is another thing that we're kind of waiting on Tim. He was drafting a letter to send to those property owners who, actually 3 different letters. One for property owners who will need to do repairs in conjunction with the repair that we said, like we would reimburse them for a portion of it. Property owners who still have trees that will need to come down and need sidewalks repaired, and then people who, is it then just the other people who only have enough that we can repair? But they don't have to do. I think that's it, because there are 3 different situations for these different property owners. So he was planning to draft 3 different letters, and I was hoping to have those for you to look at tonight.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. When we get that, we'll bring that back up for discussion. Item C, discussion and possible approval of allowing AHS students to drive tractors to school and the senior parade. As far as the tractors to school, that's supposed to happen next Wednesday. They're possibly going to push it back to Friday with the rain. Before, we've had a confusing policy where we've asked if we would prefer no dual rear wheel tires on the streets. In discussion with one of the parents I'd had, I told him I would check on our ordinances. We don't have any ordinances against driving tractors on the streets. So my recommendation, I called the school up and talked to administration and the FFA sponsor. And we said if they're not parking on the streets and they're not tearing up our streets by coming into town and doing cookies or whatever, that we shouldn't have an issue if they park on school property and they're not blocking traffic. So they're gonna go ahead. The school says they can park on their property. And with the knowledge that if it becomes a problem, we'll probably have to change our rules and address any problems that come up. But I think for the most part, we've got a pretty good group of kids. And if they understand that, they'll be responsible. So as far as the senior parade, we haven't had a request for a permit. Does anybody in the audience want to talk about a senior parade or Do we have any questions, concerns? If we don't have a request from the school, I can guarantee you we're probably not going to approve a senior parade, but in light of things that have happened in the past, I wonder where that process would be if we have a request, so. If there's no discussion on that, I guess we'll move on. And did anybody have any questions about tractors or?
No.
And then I kind
The only
of,
thing with the tractors that I was concerned about was those are our worst streets and that's
I
what
know,
So,
I know.
so maybe going forward,
The funny thing to me is that in talking to some of the parents, their biggest concern is the older tractors with hand clutches. They think they're more dangerous than driving around a tractor that's 4 times the size and, that's one of the concerns I've heard from a
Sure.
parent.
well, when I taught at the school, I know that people brought ones that were like with tracks that were huge tractors. And so just something to think about on those streets. And I understand we don't have an ordinance maybe, but
And Scott, to me, it seems like a larger dual rear wheel tire is going to take up more surface area, more potential for tearing up, but you're also lowering the pressure.
But weight wise, I mean, we're probably the same as a loaded
sure.
cement truck doing work at the school right now
Okay.
too. So
Yeah.
weight wise, I'm not too concerned there.
Mhm.
All right. So
But yeah, tracks I could see where
Tracks would not be good.
I wouldn't like that either probably.
No.
You would not recommend a track tractor?
Well, I mean, if we're on the cement street with a tractor, it'll be fine, but where it's all tore up, we got a alligator going on too and stuff where they
That's not
I can
gonna be
chew it
good.
up just a little bit, but
No.
if they take it easy, it'd probably be all right.
Okay.
All right, item D, discussion and possible approval of AYS street dance being held on Second Street in front of the Village Hall in August. Do we have anything official on that? A request?
They were just wanted to kind of start a discussion in case there were issues and they needed to keep looking for locations. They've just been discussing fundraisers and they wanted to do their street dance in August and we're just trying to figure out the best place. If they're open to suggestions, if you don't think this is a good area, they just thought because people don't really use anything on this street, in the evenings, and it might be a more convenient location to do it. They're not disturbing neighborhoods, residences and.
Yeah, I would definitely want to talk to the surrounding neighbors and make sure that they're okay with it. I know we've approved it before in front of the barn and they talked to their neighbors and nobody had a concern. Obviously, that makes it easier if the closest neighbors aren't going to have a concern.
And I think that was their big thing is they didn't want to interfere with the businesses that are open in the evenings. They didn't want to have that traffic blocked off over there and cause problems for them, so.
Yeah, I could see this street or that street, but they were specifically asking for that.
Well, yeah, I think so that they're not
Second.
blocking the vets club
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. I think that one was part of, the barn was requesting it, so they were
Mhm.
okay with that. Yeah, I would say if they were talking to their neighbors, that would make our job a lot easier. There's only one person living on that street, so that one's gonna be pretty easy. Well, until you get down, I mean, I don't know how far they,
Yeah, here, I don't think they want.
yeah, I don't think they would want to go all the way down the hill, but. All right. Item C, water and sewer, people services report. James, you had an exciting day.
Yes.
I know everybody around did. so.
It was exciting. First, I want to talk about when you messaged me last night about the water running out. Ended up being an air relief valve in the north well. It lost its seal. So when Luke was here today looking at it, I have it bypassed right now. It's shut off. So the well's working. Not the way it should be. So tomorrow he had to order a valve. He's going to replace that valve tomorrow. And then that'll be fixed.
Okay.
Today, he's there working on the 8th Street pressure reducing station. So we had to shut the water down to the pressure reducing station, which turns off the water to half the town. I originally wanted him to be here in April. That would have gave us a little bit more time to let people know this is when he was available, was this week. I couldn't wait till later in this week because we have to get tests done to lift the boil notice, and the labs aren't open on the weekend. So unfortunately, this was the best time that we could get scheduled to do it. I got super busy worried about making sure that we were in compliance with the state to where I overlooked. Probably I should have notified some of the businesses in town a little bit sooner than I did. So that's my fault. It's a learning curve. First time I've ever did it. Next time we'll know, we'll do a little better.
Definitely, we got to do better on that with our businesses. I don't know, it seems to be tough to find a way that makes everybody happy to notify them of the problem. I heard Nikki explaining our process on the phone today to an angry customer. And I'm sure that wasn't the only time. I know Kate was doing it while we were at a seminar, so we could probably work on our process of how we notify people differently, but we got to do better than 3 days notice for our businesses for sure. So let's make sure if we ever have a planned shutdown again, we have no less than a week's notice. I think, in my opinion, that seems to be a fair number that I don't see how people can complain too much about that. So
I agree 100%.
So
I'll do better next time.
All right.
Apologize about that.
thank you.
Thanks, James.
As far as where he's at today, he's about halfway done. But he was able to install 2 isolation valves, and that's why we were able to turn the water back on. So the 6-inch valve is currently working. The 2-inch valve, which is the one that was going bad, the piping to it was corroding. That was what he was worrying about, exploding and then us having an emergency.
Yeah,
Those are the things he's going to be working on tomorrow. We'll get it all put back together.
but everything seems to be going according to plan,
Yeah,
and
100%.
we shouldn't expect another disruption in the water pressure then.
No, not at all. And then once he gets it done, it'll be put together the way it should have been put together the first way. And then he can isolate both valves now. So he'll be able to work on whatever he needs to work on without having to shut the whole thing down.
And this should help us in the future when we do have a water break to be able to bring pressures back up without a spike.
Yes.
Okay,
And he did already install the 2-inch back for the overflow valve. So that should help us right there. That's set at 60 PSI.
Yeah.
And all the times that we had the breaks, we were going up to 90 PSI. So that as soon as it hops over 60, it's going to blow out that the side of the building.
and then we'll be seeing that, then people will be calling about a water spraying out of the old water tower. Okay. Just so I know when that happens, what we gotta do. So,
But that'll be better than, breaking our lines.
okay. For sure. Definitely.
And all the changes are documented in the software.
I'll take pictures, I'll upload the pictures as soon as it's done. I took 4, we have 10 sample sites in the town that rotate every month. I take 2 samples a month for bacteria. Since it was shut down, I had to, out of those 10 sites, there were 4 sites that are on this side of the town. So I had to take 4 samples today. I took them to Midwest Labs. I'll know tomorrow on those, and then 24 hours after I took these samples, I had to take 4 more. So I got to take 4 more samples tomorrow. By Wednesday, we should know. Should be able to lift the boil.
And you'll get that to Nikki so she can post it on Facebook
And I'll
start telling people.
go around and tell them.
Yeah. Yeah. And even with bacteria in the water, there's probably not large amounts. Would you say that it's probably still safe to shower?
Oh,
And
100%. You can shower right now.
just don't drink it without boiling.
We didn't test for any bacteria. We didn't get a negative test. That's not why we have the boil notice,
Just a precautionary measure.
because once the pressure gets below 20 PSI, then you have possible cross contamination, backflow problems. It's very rare, so we shouldn't have a problem at all. It's just the state requires you to, once it gets that low, that you have to put out a boil notice.
And just for clarification, it's the whole village is not just the people that were on this side of the valve or
Just the people on this side of the valve,
side of the valve? Okay,
the people who lost pressure today,
gotcha.
the people who did not have water, because I'm not 100% sure how that loop works.
Sure.
There were some
Sure.
houses that were further up than
Sure.
I was aware of that didn't have water.
And if people don't know whether or not they lost pressure, they should just be safe and boil it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
Because
there's,
they might have been gone during the day at work or whatever. And
I would imagine that they lost pressure though, when they turn their sinks on, it's probably gonna blow some air.
gotcha. Okay.
They should know.
All right, well, in the long run, it was a painful day, but in the long run, hopefully this prevents a lot of other issues that we've had
Yeah, I think so.
this summer
It's gonna be much better.
or this last fall. So. Anything else that you had for us or?
I'm still waiting to hear about the stuff that I can't, my brain's right.
The lining of the pipes?
Yeah, the lining. I haven't heard from them as far as when they're gonna be scheduled, but I'll call them again this week, next week, start getting on them. Because we've had problems in the past, just getting them out here.
Yeah, seems like they're in demand.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for working through these processes and making things better for us. So,
Thank you.
all right, Travis and I, we didn't really have anything new. We just did our quarterly report, quarterly meeting. So we'll keep working on those items we had on that list. Item G, Washington County Sheriff's Report. Did we have something we were going to talk to Mike about? Do you remember?
We had asked to try to get because we're trying to work on our strategic plan.
Thanks, James.
And so he had told us to reach out to Dan Douglas. Well, Mike said that they're going to be updating that plan though. So I don't know how far we want to get into our strategic plan until they've updated theirs.
Okay.
There's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel when we utilize the same services, I guess. So that's the only thing I can think of, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, we got a copy of the original
Yes,
plan.
yes, yes. So we can start looking at it. Yes.
Yeah.
We don't know if we wanna put that into our plan quite yet. They're gonna update.
As to how much theirs, you might know how much theirs will change. I don't know how much would yours change your strategic plan.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure we have one. You know.
Well, they sent us something that's a
The
part of
county emergency.
That's a part of that.
Yeah.
That's a part of, well, it's supposed to be incorporating yours too.
So,
Sheriff and I talked a little bit today and
Okay.
we will follow up with this tomorrow.
Perfect. Sounds great.
you know. Haven't heard or seen anything other than a lot of fires this last weekend.
Yeah.
Any concerns you guys have or?
No, everything seems to be going well. I can tell you, remember the robbery that we had at the bank over here?
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
It was just a month or so, we were finally contacted by federal prosecutors. It was going to go to trial, been that long. So some of our personnel went down to get deposed, and it turns out that the people that were arrested decided to flee. I'm not sure what that deal was,
Yeah.
but just to kind of let you know that it took a long time, not government is,
Yeah.
but it finally came through, and those people are going to do a lot of time in prison.
Good.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah.
You bet. Other than that, everything seems to be going fine. We haven't had any complaints or concerns whatsoever.
That's a good problem. Huh?
That is a good thing. Yes, it is.
So. We talked briefly about the senior parade. Do you have any knowledge of that process and how it usually goes? There's been some hesitation with recent events in there where we'd had some injuries. Do you have anything you want to say on the behalf of the department? Excuse me.
Well, having been part of that for many years now, we still do our thing and block off the streets and so forth. We've encouraged students or the school in the past to try to get a parade from it. But we want to honor the traditions of the school in Arlington. We don't want to just say no. So it's something that's been ongoing. So we prefer them to have a permit. It makes it a lot easier. But we work with the school anyway to make sure it's the safest. We'll slow people down, tell them to stop and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Are there other schools in the area that have a parade that you're familiar with?
No,
Just Arlington? Okay.
yes, just hard because
We're special.
But you know, it's been a tradition for years. I don't even know when it started. You know, but the seniors just give them an excuse to go. Go around 3 times. Yeah, we limited it 3 times around the block.
But the school days I remember, we wanted to leave after the first one, usually before things happen. So, all right, well, thank you for your input there. Anybody else have anything for the sheriff's department? Thank you for your time.
You're quite welcome.
All right. Let's move on to item B, parks. Travis and Gordon, do you guys have anything?
I have one item, Trev.
Go for it.
So we met with today, John, Nikki, Keith, and I met with Shimmer and JFK on the bathroom project.
Yeah.
So I'll just chime in and please add to it. Starting May 1st is when JFK wants to start the project, and they're still looking for that 90-day timeframe. And then John and Nikki and team will be working with JFK to make sure everything's handled.
Are we still going to be able to do rentals during the renovations? Okay.
Just use the other bathrooms.
And everyone who's rented, I mean, we've been telling people that this is probably going to be a thing that's happening, and so they shouldn't be caught off guard. We'll call again. We'll look at who has it rented now that we have a start date.
Will they shut down that whole front thing, that whole front area? No, we'll build that.
They're not doing anything there.
They're gonna build a temp, like a
Sure.
volleyball. up
Yep.
To keep dust.
Gotcha. I was just thinking that for the library too, besides the rental.
And they're aware of the library being open while they're working there, so. And Deb's aware that the library is gonna have to use that other bathroom.
Anything you guys saw in the meeting that was surprising or something you didn't expect?
I think there was only just one minor change order they had, or change that they had from the original plans, but I think they got that worked out, so.
Good. It'll be nice to see that project finished. Thanks, Travis.
No, we've got quite a list here, I guess, to go over for park stuff. We'll work down through that, I guess.
Yeah.
The library report. Looks like we've got one thing to approve. Discussion possible library report. I'll back up. Nothing specifically on the library report. Check. There we go. The resignation and that.
I knew you'd get there. We're fine.
So we need to accept a resignation. So I motion to approve Peg Rupert's resignation, right, from the library board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of accepting the resignation of Peg Reifert from the library board. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McLean,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Lucy.
Aye.
Travis Krim,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye,
Figured to have the minutes reflect thanking her for her service.
yes,
Thank you.
she's been on there for a long time. Item D, discussion and possible approval of the appointment of Sally Hagemeister to the library board.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a so moved. For the appointment of Sally Hagemeister to the library board and a second. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Lucy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McLean.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item E, annual summer sizzle request for approval. This should be just as done previously. I do think there's one change. Using the old batting cages for a petting zoo. I think we have one member that of the committee that has proposed if the weather's okay for it, he would bring in some small farm animals, sheep, maybe some, I think there was some small, what do you call it, Shetland ponies, something like that. So other than that, I think everything else was as the year before. And because they are a recognized committee of the city, we do have insurance on these items, so they're covered under our alarm contract, so. Unless anybody had a concern, I would suggest we make a motion to approve them all.
I'll make a motion to approve the summer sizzle requests as presented.
I'll second that.
I think we have a motion and a second to approve the summer sizzle requests as presented. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lucy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item F, possible approval of proposed swimming lessons, price changes and class changes.
Oh, yeah, so
Can you bring that to us?
it's in here, 7E.
Okay.
I spoke with Merritt earlier and she's recommending that we are to stay competitive with other communities, and we could raise our price for group lessons. We talked some more afterwards, but up to $40 per group lesson, and private lessons from 55 to 70, which is in line with other communities of similar size. And the way things are selling out, it doesn't look like it's a concern for filling it up
Yeah,
all year long.
I think it's been a while since we've actually talked about raising stuff there. All of her proposed high numbers are not the highest in the area, so I would say we go with her high suggestions. Unless anybody has a concern about it.
Couple of comments that she made this, they want to create a parent and me class, which is for age 1 month to 4 years old, for a parent and the child to learn to swim. It's kind of a parent sponsored swim class. Helps them stay organized with the coach, making sure that the kids are doing the right thing. But everything seemed in line, other than the price increase, which I think is more than fair.
So we'd really just be changing those two numbers on the group and private lessons. Is that all I'm seeing in there?
You know, we don't document the classes, do we? So it'd be just the.
We could just say as presented. Because she does have some down there at the bottom. I don't think we ever charged for water aerobics, have we?
Oh,
I don't think they've done the water aerobics since.
Not during
So that's
COVID,
new on the list, yeah.
so-
Not during the day either. That's usually like, wouldn't that used to be at night?
Used to be a night club type of
Yeah,
thing. I
that's what I
don't
was
think.
thinking.
I would say we approve these as presented and she can pick the number that she likes or out of those two comparative ones.
I think I'd like to recommend we go to 40. It's consistent.
That's the only one she had a choice on, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Right.
Yep.
So, yeah. Group lessons for 40 and as presented on all the other proposed prices.
So moved.
Second.
I think you have a motion to approve the swimming pool group
That works pretty well.
lessons from $25 to $40. and all other pricing changes as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Weaver, Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item F, Cemetery Committee Report. Do you guys have anything new this month?
Just putting the final touches on our strategic plan. Narrowing that down and try to keep in communications with the Vets Club, see if they have any upcoming projects coming up now it's spring. See if they're gonna make some headway on their project and other than that, unless John, you got anything?
There's just a couple trees out there that have to be taken down.
Routine stuff.
Have you talked to Trevor in the last few days about locating a lot?
I just talked to him today, so
Okay,
it's not, it's a very April or something like that, so.
okay. Yeah, I told him you would have more idea where.
I know.
Fine. Up to that.
I didn't get to it today.
Okay,
Hopefully sometime this week.
all right. Nothing else on the cemetery. Let's move down to item G, administrative, Washington County permit report.
We don't have one yet.
Don't have one left. All right. Item B, discussion and possible approval of deputy clerk attending ethics in action webinar on 3/24 for a fee of $50. Do we need any discussion on that, or do we just make an approval?
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the deputy clerk attending the ethics in action webinar on 3/24 for $50. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Mason, Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item C, discussion and possible approval of a new 36-month contract with Waste Connections at $488 a month or provider beginning in July. That's something I would assume we would want to get some comparative prices if we were to consider that.
They're in your.
They're in here.
Yeah, I missed that.
What's cheaper? It says 357.
They lowered
Oh, okay.
their prices for us, as we also asked them for prices again. So,
Gotcha.
and this locks in those prices for 36 months. But that contract expires in June, so.
So the 357.50 is correct. 488.
Sorry.
That number should be
It's on the
changed to
agenda.
57. is what
Yeah,
you're saying?
357.50 is what it says on there.
Okay.
In that spot.
Yeah, we got this after I put that in. So
And then the S2 was 452, it looks like.
they were the highest.
And age was somewhere. Maybe. Theirs was 488, maybe, no? That says Waste Connection, that's a different one. There's two different things in here for Waste Connection.
So this is the current bill. But then they give us a new contract and lowered prices.
But there's another page that says 488, and then there's another one that says 350.
357 is when they,
That's an email, sorry, no, 488 is.
488 is the correct.
So Waste Connections was not the cheapest price, but they were giving us this price for 3 years. Which nobody else was. Yeah, the 357.50 is from Abe's.
They give us a term for that price?
No.
oh, that's what that 357 was, Abe's quote.
There it says.
Sorry, yep.
Oh, that's my fault. And then waste is 488, and then S2 is
S2.
452. And S2 and Abe's were just 1 years.
Yeah, they didn't
Just
have
1
it.
month. Parks Committee, have any thoughts?
Maybe ask if they would lock us in for a certain period of time.
We just asked for prices, and then when we then asked Waste Connections for prices, they sent us a new contract for 3 years. So
Well, if we can lock in a lower price.
For,
it's not lower though, that's the Waste Connections is not lower than the other prices. I mean, we're locking in it lower than what it is now.
Abe's, though, they're lower.
Abe's was the lowest.
But not locked in. S2 is lower, but not locked in.
Correct.
Who did we deal with during the flood with all those containers? Abe's?
Abe's. And that's who does our containers for the.
Spring cleanups, yeah.
Was that a deal breaker for us if we can't get a locked in price, or what do you guys want to do?
it'd have to be a pretty big jump to come close to the 480.
That's what I was thinking.
I'd rather go with Abe's and just ask them if they could lock us in for 12 months. But it's not a deal breaker either way to me.
Do we want to vote on accepting their contract, or do we want to wait until we can talk to them and ask for a lock?
July, what you said, with current
Till the end of June.
The end of June.
for this time.
Do that, call them, see if they'll give us a multi-year.
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss it next month.
Thank you.
How come we never have a report, the spot on here for your stuff? It's like we always skip over you. Do you have anything for
It's
us?
in there. I just don't put our reports on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's at the beginning of June.
Do you have anything you wanted to share with the board on the seminar today that we went to?
I have not, yes, there's a lot that I would like to share. I'm not organized any thoughts on that, so I can send you an email. They had, I thought a lot of really useful suggestions on what we can do to combat the apathy and get some civic pride renewed in town and make some changes. So his main theme was just consistent incremental improvements, just keep improving a little bit every day, so. Cohesive format for you.
All right, well, I think the last two items we're gonna go back to for closed session discussion. So if you guys need a signature on your school forms, go ahead and bring it up here and we'll let you off the hook.
They're required to be here? I thought they just.
I know.
Should be. Have you heard anything more on the QR codes? Sign somewhere.
Again, next one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, you guys got lucky. That's a lot shorter than most school board meetings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Significant.
Pick the right one.
Shorter than our normal meeting, so.
Survey.
Yeah, with the QR code, the downtown survey. Have you
There
heard?
are 120 so far.
Really? That's good.
And that was last week.
Go ahead, Tom. Yeah, we'll hold for a second.
That was last week. And we printed out some hard copies for the senior center. So we haven't gotten any of those back, so we may have one of that. Mass check hard copies too. Yeah. So
When are they closing it?
the end of the month.
Had lots of compliments on the card too, of all the dates and reminders. That was good.
That's a good idea.
Did we get a lot of people to register UTVs? Dogs.
Yes, and a lot of people came in here to register their dogs.
Good.
So we knew they hadn't done it before because you do that at a pet hospital.
Ah. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Gotcha.
It's been entertaining, but yeah, a lot of, usually the ATV and UTVs don't come until,
So let's put that on the calendar for next year.
that was a good thing. We have had a lot of people say thank you and.
Well, I wonder what the response is on your emails that you send out through Frontline. You think that's, or not Frontline? No, Frontline, Front Desk. You think that's helpful too, probably, or not?
I don't know if we have a way to gauge that, like, we can't read them.
Here's what we could do. This is a crazy idea. Make it like a marketing thing. You get $1 off if you bring in your print off or something, and we'd find out how many people actually use that. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying we have to do it.
Sorry, this is me thinking, I'm just gonna think about that.
I think I already know what her thoughts were. How'd you guys?
On the face, you can see.
About the same? Okay, all right, just checking.
You can't read anything.
No, I was just trying to think of what, that's what they do for marketing materials. They'll say, oh, reference this ID number or something.
Right.
Type in code Nikki for $1 off.
Oh,
Ooh.
It's 50 for 50.
if you type out Dominic, you get the $2. That's a Nikki.
So we need a motion to go into executive session.
Yes, let's start with the executive session on FEMA buyout properties.
I motion to go into executive session to discuss FEMA buyout properties.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session for the discussion of property buyout. Potential negotiations. Let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason
Hi.
Wissey. Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCoy.
Aye.
Paul Krebs.
Aye. I don't know that you need to
See
say
you, John.
anything, John. Thank you.
Care.
I hope you get your old seat back next time. You look kind of grumpy in the other seat.
Hey, what if we could guarantee the meeting's always done by 7:30?
Thanks, Lulu.
See ya.
Thank you. So after the board's
Still
direction,
recording.
we should shut off the recorder.
There we go. Sorry.
After the board's direction
To the right, down, or they'll do it there too.